Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beauty School Bobbi podcast on Beauty and Style Network. Today I am so excited for my guest. My guest is Haley Page, celebrity makeup artist. Haley has worked with people like Rhea and Fran from Chicks in the Office, Nikki Glazer, and even your favorite Bravo celebrities. We had such a fun conversation today about how to make it in the beauty industry, what it's like to work with celebrities, and going through the growth process of a growing business. So thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this interview. Hey everyone, today I'm here with Haley Page. How are you, Haley?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I am so excited to start my morning with you. This is the best way to start my day. I'm so excited to talk to you. So I haven't told you any of this, but
Yeah.
I or how we connected. I want to kind of talk about that story. But the way that I found you is because I'm a huge fan of Chicks in the Office. And Maria's wedding, I just couldn't get over. And I was like, who is this person? I was so happy that she shared all of your stuff because I'm like, who is she? And then when I started following you, I was like, oh my gosh, Haley Page is literally working on everyone right now. So you're a celebrity makeup artist. And I want to ask you, how long would you consider yourself in this role that you're in right now of working with celebrities, working with super famous people? I know that's not all you do, and I want to talk about that as well, but how long have you been in this world?
So I actually first worked with Rhea and Fran in October of 2021. And I always say from that first moment that I worked with them, they changed my life. And I love them so much. Now I'm very close with them friend wise on top of working with them. But I would really say it started in 2021. And that's just kind of how it works in Boston. Once one person of high profile goes to you, they kind of all go to you. So I'd probably say since 2021, that's when it really started. And it's really just because I started working with them first.
That's so awesome. And I think that when you're young, you don't always understand that there one opportunity, one conversation, one job can change everything. Is that kind of how you feel like it worked for you?
For sure. I always say that if I never met Rhea and Fran, and I mean, they're so good to me and they've done so much for me and I'm so grateful for them. But if I was never given that opportunity, which I was given that opportunity from a friend, Mikey Grinnell from high school, who works with them at Barstool. So it's just always a weird connection that you have with someone or whatever it may be. And if I was never given that and I didn't know him, then I don't know if I would be doing as many high profile people right now that I am.
Yeah. Now, I know this is obviously the dream, right? If we talk to beauty school students or people that are wanting to come into this industry, what you're doing is the dream. How long have you kind of been doing this before that happened? When did you first get into makeup?
Oh my God, forever. Whenever people ask me that question, I laugh because I say I've been in business for 10 years doing weddings, but I have been doing makeup since the earliest I can remember back is high school. I always did my friends. I have such a big family. I did all of my cousins. So I've just always been doing it. I would do my friends' hair and makeup for proms when I wasn't going, and my cousins for their school dances and stuff like that. So kind of forever, but technically 10 years in business.
Yeah, and you're self-taught. So you
Yes.
have done this all on your own over this time. What was the first? Was it a video? Was it how did you first start, or were you just like, I'm going to try this on somebody? And then you kind of crafted it from there. Was there someone you followed, or how did you learn?
So this is really funny. When I was in eighth grade, I wasn't allowed to wear makeup ever. My mom was very strict with it. When I was eighth grade before high school, she was like, okay, I'll finally take you to go get some makeup before you go into high school. It was the week before. She brought me to the mall and it was kind of late. We went after one of my cheerleading practices or something like that. And the only counter that was available in, I think it was Bloomingdale's or something we were in, was the Chanel counter in the mall. And that was the only makeup counter available. And she was like, okay, well, I promised you I'd do this. School's starting soon. We'll just go here. So we went to the Chanel counter and I was so excited. I had already been like kind of experimenting and getting in trouble for it, little things here and there. And so she brought me this Chanel counter and the woman taught me 2 eyeshadow looks with a liner. And I remember when she gave it to me, she said to me, she was like, wow, you're a natural. And she was like, you already know what you're doing. And that was it. That was like the first moment. And then my freshman year of high school, my mom bought me, that Bare Minerals. Remember that like pack and it had all the makeup? I think I was the only person that actually watched the video and studied it. So really that was it. I wasn't like a YouTube girly and I feel like a lot of people are surprised by that. So other than that, I just kind of practiced on people and myself really. Other than those 2 moments, those are like what I remember.
You know what's really interesting about that though? Because like I just being so involved in the school side of this and like education
Yep.
side of this, what's so interesting to me is with you doing it this way, like you have such a specific look to you.
Mhm.
That's something that like obviously like I think this it's probably a weird thing or just that I've been like doing this so long, but like looking at
Yeah.
your Instagram, I'm like, you have like I think now like I could be like, oh, Haley Page did that. Like if I can see,
Oh,
you know what I
thank
mean?
you.
Like you have such a
Yeah.
specific look. And I think that that's because you figured it out on your own. And I think there's
Yeah.
something to that. I think there's
Thank
something
you.
to you having to be like, okay, this is what I do. And this is what like, look, not that all your clients look the same by any means. You just have a
No, but
really specific look.
thank you. No, and I always say too, I mean, that's why people go to me, right? Because they like a
Hmm.
certain look. And the number one thing I get is, I don't know how you do full glam with it still looking so natural. And that's my style. Like
Yeah.
I like when things look pretty. I like when things look soft. And that's just my style. And I don't take offense to that at all. But thank you. I appreciate that. You know.
So your story like past high school, what was that? So you're doing this in high school, you're like working on all your friends and family.
Yep.
Did you end up going to traditional college or trying that route or anything? Or have you been in this like going full force?
No, I went to college and I was on like my cheerleading team and the girls that were the year below me would ask me to come home to do their prom makeup. So I would come back from college on the weekend because I didn't live too far from, or I didn't go to college too far from where we were from. I'd come home, I'd do their prom makeup. So I always was doing it on the side. It's so funny thinking back, like my college roommates in our apartment, I would have like clients and, it wasn't really clients. It was like people I knew come in. So I did that. And then I full force was like in college and like in an office. I worked in an office until July of 2021 and then I quit right before my wedding and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I actually was moving away from the makeup side of things. I took a lot of advice from people that were older than me in the industry and outside that just kind of scared me that you'll never make money in makeup, and if I continue to do this I'll lose my passion for it. So I was really afraid to do it full time, and it always was kind of like a hobby for me. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I have this thing where I'm good at makeup. I didn't even really tell people, I didn't promote myself too much. And then when I did Rianne Fran, it was just like I said, a connection with a friend. And I remember after I did their makeup, I got 500 inquiries and 1,000 followers in one day for weddings. And
What?
I was like, oh, you know what? I don't think I can go back to an office anymore. So I really was like fully going. I wasn't striving to do makeup full time. I'm so happy my life turned out the way it did. And it was always my dream. But like I said, I was just so afraid that I would never make money from it or I would just lose my passion because that's what I was told. And I'm so happy I didn't listen to anyone and, kind of just went for it. So,
Well, I think there are people that just have this drive, and you clearly do. I mean, you like even telling the story about going to the Chanel counter and like remembering like you were in this grade and it was after whatever.
yeah,
Like all of this was clearly like meant for you and your passion. I
for
think
sure.
that there's that quote or whatever that's like, don't take advice from people whose life like you wouldn't want or whatever. I know I'm like botching that, but do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
So I feel like that's so important because it's the scariest thing to be like, especially when I mean, I don't know what your family, back or
Mhm.
like how they feel about you doing this or this profession. But if you don't have somebody that's like really encouraging you to show you like, no, you can be successful and you can do this. Like if you had a super successful car salesman in your family, everyone would be like, oh, go be a car salesman.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that, it's really hard to take that leap. And then you feel like, okay, like my friends are getting jobs in offices and I'm supposed to be working there and I'm supposed to be doing these things, but no, I'm going to go do something completely different. And it's the scariest, most terrifying thing. But the advice
Yeah.
from other people, yes, burnout does happen. And there are people that don't make money, but that's not everyone. So
For
just
sure.
ignoring it and being like, well, I'm going to do it anyways is like a really common thread between people that are successful in this industry, because there is a lot of blind faith and just knowing that like, this is what you're meant to do. And I think
Yeah.
that it's so hard, especially being young, to make that decision, which is why I want to talk to people like you
Yeah.
to be like, no, you can do it.
And I always joke that I think I run my business a little bit on delusion because everyone asks me what's my 5-year plan. And that is my least favorite question because I always answer it the same. Like, I have no idea. I never have a 5-year plan. I never plan anything. I mean, I have things that like obviously I hope for and I pray for and things like that, but I never have a plan because I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
I think that that was like a big part of it, that I never was like, okay, I need to do this or I need to do that. And I remember at the time I was working, I had a pretty good job out of college and I was working for the state and I had a pension, which no one has pensions anymore. And my dad was very strict on, you can't lose this job. You can't lose your pension. They never give them out anymore. And I remember being like, Dad, I don't care about a pension. I'm not doing this. And thank God I didn't listen to him and he agrees now. But
I was going to ask you how everyone feels about it now. I mean, is everyone just like so
so
proud and
supportive.
like can't
Yeah.
believe it?
Yeah, my parents and like my whole family, I should say, like extended everyone in my life. I always say that too. I think that that's a part of why I'm so successful because I truly have like the best support, whether it's my family, my husband, my friends, like the people in my corner are so proud and supportive of me. And I think that that goes a long way. So I'm very, very lucky and grateful.
Makes such a difference.
Yeah, it
So
does.
one of the things I want to ask you is you do work with weddings and
Hmm.
doing celebrity makeup. And so I know that they can sometimes be two different worlds. I think with weddings, you have a lot of advance notice
Hmm.
to they book you ahead of time and you've got time to prepare and work with the bride and all that stuff. With the celebrity aspect, and I think I'm right. That this is probably how it works for you. Sometimes you might get a last minute call and you're like, oh, here I
Always.
go. I'm going to this person, the show, this
Always.
person's coming in. Talk to me about the difference of like as a professional, what
Yep.
that looks like for you and how do you just morph into the other thing where you're like, we're just jumping in and going versus like having time to prepare for the service.
I actually, and this is going to sound a little psychotic, I actually prefer the last minute because I think, especially where like my life is taking me, I have no idea. Once again, I said I don't plan anything. So knowing that I don't book weddings out any further than a year in advance because it just, or a little over a year in advance. Just because I don't know where I'll be and I hate canceling, whether it's like someone in my family's getting married or something like that. Like it always like is really painful for me to cancel because I know once you book someone, you're so excited about them. So it breaks my heart. So that gives me more anxiety knowing that I'm booked out a year in advance. But with the celebrities, it's funny. Like I say to people, I'm so lucky if I get a month's notice, like month and like even a week. Like that's like, oh my God, they told me a week before, thank God. Usually it's a few days before, week-ish. And you just have to change your whole day. Like as soon as I get that call, I'm moving things around. Even this past weekend, I can't say too much, but I had to do someone for Bravo and I had a wedding on Saturday and my bride's time was at 10:45, which I didn't have to change, which was great. And she was super understanding. But once I did the bride, I had to leave immediately after the service. And then one of the girls on my team that I had working with me had to do her touch up at the end, which is nice that I do have a team to help me out. And like I said, the bride was super understanding and like understood. And I didn't mess up her schedule or her time at all. But I didn't find that out until 2 days before and the time changed I'm not kidding, like 3 times, including till the night before I had to leave. So, and an hour once we got there, or on the
Yeah.
way. But
And so being flexible is everything. Have you always kind of been able to adapt into different situations like that? Or are you having to learn how to be like, this is just how it goes and I need to just like ride the wave?
I've always kind of been like this. I
That
feel like
helps.
I always joke that like running on chaos is how I move. Um I do get anxiety like probably the week before or time leading up before, when I have to tell brides and that the schedule's going to change. I get so nervous that someone's going to be upset. And then once everything's good, I'm like, okay. So,
Yeah. Are they more accepting? I'm sure that so much of your business comes from social media. Do you think
yep.
they're more understanding maybe because they're seeing like, okay, I'm getting her for my wedding, like
Yeah.
dream. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
crazy that they're getting you for their wedding day.
Oh, me
So I
too.
wonder if that helps a little bit that like social media gives you that space to show them that like you're not just changing so that you can like hit the pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
changing so that you can
Yeah.
go do these things. And then are they like supportive and excited for you? Like if you're like, hey, I'm going to work
Yeah.
on this person, do they get to like kind
Usually.
of be in that excitement with you?
Yeah, usually I have great clients, so I like can't complain. They're really awesome and like so sweet to me. So most of the time, yes, that's kind of why they hired me in the first place, is because like you said, they saw some of the people that they love that I've done. Um and I think that it's just I am very like loyal, and I always say like if I can't do your makeup and it's because something happens, it's because like there's absolutely no way. Like I will do everything in my power to make it back. There has been so many times where I've been on tour with Rhea and Fran, and I've flown in the morning of at 5 a.m. just to go and drive an hour to just do a bride after my flight and then leave. So they know that I'm going above and beyond no matter what to make that effort to be there for them. And I think they appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that the message in all of this, and one of the reasons that I want to talk to you about kind of what this looks like is because, again, like this is the dream, but knowing that, like, it's really, really hard. And again, you
Yeah.
can talk to, if I put 10 people in a room with you and you're like, hey, this is what you need to do, maybe
Yeah.
one will be able to work this hard and to be able to do this. Is the
Yeah.
goal to eventually have a bigger team to run a bigger business of people, or are you like, I'm just really good doing my thing? What, I mean, not 5 year plan, but when you think
Yeah.
about how to grow this or scale it, are you okay with it just being like, it's just me and I'm gonna, have some people on a team, or are you wanting the like huge group of people that, do weddings?
No, I always said I don't want this massive team and then I'm kind of removed from it. I just feel like I want the brides to be able to like know me and talk to me and feel comfortable with me and all of those things. So I never wanted this like massive team. I'm good where we are right now. There's a team of 9. I have a social media and admin girls, and then I have 7 girls that do makeup, and that is perfect for me. And I keep saying, like, as of right now, I'm at my max capacity. Like, we're good. And I just kind of want to see where life takes me. Like I said, I don't want it to be that I'm so removed from it, and I just have a bunch of people working under me, and I'm this ghost in the background. So I kind of like it to keep things a little smaller and more personalized.
I think one of the things that I think I'm older than you. So I think one of the things that your generation is doing really well is understanding that the volume isn't the most important thing. I think
Yeah.
that a lot of people that are closer to my age, it was like grow, grow, grow. And if you're not
Mhm.
growing, then you're not successful, right?
Yeah.
And I think that for you to be able to say, like, I'm good, this is how
Hmm.
much I want, like, it's obviously a blessing. Like, it's so
Yeah.
awesome that you built this thing to this place. It didn't, come without hard work. you're just as successful and all the things
Thank you.
without having to be like more, more, more. And I think
Yep.
that that's so important to like stop and realize that like
Mhm.
you're good.
Yep.
And I don't know how you say in that place, if it's a schedule or if it's like, hey, I still am living my life with my family and I have this. I don't know. Everybody kind of has their different metrics for
Yeah.
measuring that. But I think being able to say that and be like, I'm good, I'm happy with what we're doing is so
Mhm.
great. So you
Oh,
actually
thank you.
mentioned that you've got like social media. What
Yeah.
that's like as far as the business goes, and you've got 9
Mhm.
people, that you work with. How has leading been for you? Like switching into a like you can control the makeup you do. How has it been having people that you're leading and working with?
Um, for like giving them a little bit of control in the sense of like social media stuff, or do you mean like the artists themselves leading like a wedding?
Yeah, both.
Both.
Like
Okay.
going into the
Okay.
role of being like, this is
Yeah.
my name on this, and this is how I want this to
Yeah.
go. I know it can be challenging with different personalities. What's that
So
role been like?
that was the hardest part for me, especially on like the back end of things, like the admin part and the social media part, because I am a little bit of a control freak. So even with the admin at the beginning, I would read over every email first and make sure we were writing things a certain way. And we probably did that for like a year. And then now I trust her with my whole heart. I don't even know what the emails say. Like brides will come in and be like, I'm so sorry about this. And I'm like, oh, she never told me. Unless it's a problem that I need to know about, I'm not even involved. And I personally like that better because then I'm starting a clean slate with, sometimes the money things get weird. So I like not having that part of it. So at the beginning, I kind of watched over everything. I read over everything. I proofread everything. With social media, same thing. I gave her almost like a test run. I think we did it for like a month or two to see how things were going before I officially hired her. And now she knows my style. She knows the things I like. I just drop I answer my DMs just because I felt like I wanted to keep it more personal and I want people to feel like they're talking to me and not just
Mhm.
talking once again to just a corporation or a company. And I'm not a real person. So I answer my DMs and I do all that stuff. And she just kind of makes the videos and edits and keeps me on track of like how much we should be posting. And I just drop it into a shared album. She edits it the way I like. So it took a little bit at first with that for us to both kind of like find our style. And once I worked with her for that month or so, I was like, oh, you're great. I can hire you on. But at first it was scary for me to kind of commit and do that. And for the weddings, I mean, my girls, I've trained all of them. And every 6 months we do like a refresh where we'll get dinner and we do like a little class where like the girls work on each other and I watch them. So I do someone's makeup first and we kind of do a style that I like, and then all of them will work on each other and they'll tell me things that they're struggling with or that they just want to get better at or like tweak. And I go through and kind of watch them and just like make comments. And I am just very particular about things. So I always am apologizing, and they say I say it in a nice way, but I just, will sit there and I'll move the brush a certain way. So I've done all that. And like I said, every 6 months, it's important for me to just have that refresh, even if they don't need it, because I feel like you always do. So now I'm at the point where like I trust all of my girls and they're all so professional. And we every 6 months when we have our meeting, we have a big one at the end of the year, we go over everything that I expect, whether it comes to like communication with the bride, what I expect in their touch up kits or like quality, how I want their kit to be clean, just everything we go over. And I make sure that we do that every 6 months just so that it's fresh and that no one slips off.
Yeah. How far away does your team work? Do you all like, because you're in Boston, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So is it just pretty much like that area, or is everyone going like all over the country at this point?
We'll go wherever. I mean, I always say we'll go as far as someone wants to pay for us to go. But we try not to drive more than like 2.5 hours just because it's a long day for the artist. I mean, people, even if they're paying for it or not, it's still a really long day. So sometimes they'll have to get hotel rooms or, whatever. So I always say as long as, they're willing to pay for us to travel there and the girls are available, we'll kind of do whatever. But mostly I would say the New England area.
Wow, that's awesome. And
Yeah,
how
thank
many,
you.
do you, I know there's not like a limit because you're gonna jump in and take whatever opportunities that you have, but
Yeah.
around how many weddings are you all doing a year?
Every year I say I'm going to take less than the year before, and I am just a workaholic and I can't help myself. Last year I took 70, and this year I almost like ignore it for a little bit. And last week I asked my admin, I was like, how many weddings am I taking this year? And she said 77. So I've been
Wow.
really bad at saying no. But I am trying to get better, especially now with the baby and stuff, and she's getting a little older. I'm trying to take a little bit less and giving more control and things to the girls, but I feel like this business is my baby, and it's really hard for me to kind of pull away.
Yeah, and I think that, like, as much as you will keep trying to do that, I think one of the things that I've realized, especially, like, with my kids getting older and all that stuff, is, like,
Mhm.
I'm still and I have to, like, catch myself, I'm like, "It's still me. You're the
Yeah,
brand, you're the
for sure.
business, and you care so much about it," and I think the second that you're like, "Alright, I'm passing it off," like, then it just become I mean, this is very much just as much your baby as your baby. And I know people are like weird about
Exactly.
being like, it's not as, but like what
Yeah.
you give to it and the way that you think about it and the way that
Yeah,
you want it to grow is the same. And so
for
having
sure.
that commitment, I think, is so important. Okay. As a wedding makeup artist, what is your perfect wedding day? What time is a great time to start for you as a makeup artist? What kind of bride do you want? What is the perfect wedding day?
Perfect wedding day would be like a 7 or 8 a.m. start. Nothing too early. The 6 a.m. is too early for me, but we've done it. And 9 a.m. just for some reason gives me a little bit of anxiety. I just feel like it's a little too late. Like everyone should be up earlier than that. So I'd say 7 or between 7 and 8 a.m. Um, Hopefully done around like 12 or 1, no later than 2. And bride, someone that's just happy and like really excited to get married. And that doesn't mean that they can't be anxious or nervous, because I always say to my brides, I'm like, you should be anxious and nervous. That's an okay feeling to have. You're getting married. Like, it doesn't mean that you're marrying the wrong person or that you shouldn't be doing this. Like, it's just a natural feeling to feel nervous. So I guess someone that's just like in a good mood. And we always get asked like, oh, you must have so many bridezillas. And I always joke, it's mostly never the bride. It's usually like one of the moms or someone in the wedding party that shouldn't have been in the wedding party, but they felt like they had to have them. Um, but usually the brides, like I said, as long as they're nice to us and they're in a good mood and they're happy, we don't really get too many mean brides. But that's my perfect bride, is someone that's just like in a good mood and happy to be there and just, having fun with their girlfriends.
Now, on the wedding day, obviously there's a lot of people. There's hair, makeup, bride or bridesmaids, like all the things.
Yeah.
What is it like, or what advice do you have for working with hairstylists, working with other people, staying on schedule? What advice do you have for that? Because I know that that's a big thing that a lot of people don't always think about or realize
Yeah.
that that's going to be a part of their job. I mean, you're just as involved as the hairstylist, working together, schedules, all of
Yeah.
that. So talk to me about what that's been like.
So we always send a schedule out like a month to 2 weeks before, and usually we ask the bride to share it with the hairdresser. So a lot of times I know the hairdresser that I'm working with, so they know how long I take, I know how long they take, and we kind of make the schedule together. Um, we do 50 minutes per person, where I feel like normally people do between 40 and 45. But that for us is sanitation in between. And for some reason, even if, moms don't take us that long, it just works out timing wise. So we do a little bit longer than I feel like other people do. So I would say just communication, whether you can talk to the hairdresser beforehand or let the bride relay that message. I think a lot of times the hairdresser and makeup artist always want to take the bride at the same slot. So just having open communication of like, is this okay? Or, I'm running behind, or the schedule got messed up because someone wasn't here yet, and just kind of figuring out and being flexible. I always say, like, I don't care. As long as I get the bride done, I'll do whatever is easiest for everyone. And I feel like being flexible is the best way to kind of handle that situation.
Do you have people that you've worked with enough at this point that you're like, if a bride reaches out to you, like, here's who I recommend? Do you have like a hair bestie that you're like, this is who I want to work with on this day?
I have like 10. I send them a list of like my 10 favorite people. I'm like, I love all these girls. I work with them all the time. So I have a few that I work with that like mostly. But then it's funny, I'll do a wedding and I'll have a random hairdresser, and by the end, I'm like, oh, they were great. They were so nice. I loved them. So the list keeps growing. And half the time, I feel like you know how it is. I know people's Instagram rather than their actual name. So that's basically what I go off of.
Yeah, I think it's really important because that affects your day.
It
And I
does.
think that sometimes with makeup artists and like just other or even just the hairstylists are like, okay, well, this is my thing. I'm gonna be here doing this. And then you get to wherever you're, on location that day. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh wait, we're very much a part of this together and we're gonna be working
Yeah.
together. So I think just like staying calm and not letting
Yeah.
their mood or their system, like their way, kind of affect what you're doing. But yeah, if you have a group and you're able to like work together and try to book together, I think that that's key. I mean, it's just like everything else. You have to have your little circle. It makes
For sure.
everything so much better, and the day to just run smoother. So do you have the moments where you get in the car though after and you're like, that was crazy, and then you have to
Yes.
like process what just happened? Because are you a
All the
master,
time.
like in the moment are you like, we're fine, everything's fine, and then
Yeah.
afterwards it's like, that was the craziest thing that's ever happened?
That's happened a decent amount of times for sure. Yeah. We'll get in the car, we'll call each other and just be like, what just happened? And you know
Yeah.
how it is. You woke up so early, you had maybe one meal in the morning, a bagel. You're delusional, you're hungry, and then it takes a few hours to process what was going on.
It's so wild, and it's everyone's most important day. I think that for
It is.
makeup artists and people that want to work in the wedding industry specifically, like there's crazy
Yes.
things in the salons and all of that. This is just such a whole different world, which is why I was so excited to talk to you, because I think that there are different characteristics of somebody that can be successful in this world. I think that if you
Mhm.
were to be like, here's the top 10 things you need, so much of it is just about how you are as a person. Like you
Yeah.
can train somebody to be so good at makeup and to do it the way that you want them to do. It's like you can
Yeah.
teach them those skills, but there are 100 other things that make you good at this job,
For sure.
that are truly personality traits of learning how to
For
handle
sure.
those things. And I think that's the hard part about owning a business and passing things off um is that you just have to learn that sometimes of how somebody's going to react in a situation. And it's not like you can prep them for all the crazy things that will happen, on a wedding
Yeah.
day. So
So true. I think the number one thing that clients say to me is, oh my God, I didn't realize how nice you were. Or I didn't realize how humble and normal you'd be. I figured you'd be, rude or think that you were better than me. And I always laugh because in my head, I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't think of myself that way. But it's funny, there is a lot of people like that. So I get it, but it always cracks me up. I'm like, if anyone ever knew, I'm like, in my life, I think I'm just like a hot mess. So
yeah,
it makes me laugh. But
we're all just figuring it out. I have students at the school that
yeah,
will
I'm
be
like,
like, you just seem like you have it all together. And I'm like, what? Like,
yeah. And I'm like, why wouldn't I be nice? Do I look mean online? I'm like, that makes me sad. But they're like, no, you just do cool people. I'm like, so you have to be
yeah.
mean? But I get it. Some people are like that, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah. Okay, so for you staying in Boston is
Yep.
where you're going to be, so staying north. Have you ever worked a wedding in the south?
I have not, but I mean, I would love to if anyone wants to. The most south I've ever gone is Florida, but that's about it.
I need you to come down and like see the differences like so
Oh
bad. I
my
want
God,
you
I
to
would
just
love.
come like observe one. I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I grew up in the
Yeah.
north and very much, which is why I think like I don't know. I'm still like everyone's, summer in the north. I'm just so jealous
Yeah.
of and miss
Yeah.
home so much. I'm like, there were just so many differences. And I
Yeah.
think like even you talking about like your family and all of this stuff, I think that
Yeah.
there's just such a difference down here. But one of the things I learned coming into the beauty industry down here, and
Mhm.
then weddings and all of that stuff is it's like up there, it's fun and it's crazy and it's loud and like all of that stuff. But down here, it is very much more of like, oh, wait, this person needs to feel special. And that, like, you have to make sure that this mother feels like she's getting
Oh,
attention. And like,
oh
it's crazy. It's like, I want a reality show so bad about just like the weddings down here. It's
I
so
would say the
fun.
wedding politics. I love that. No,
Yes.
I would love to do a wedding in the South. I haven't yet, but I've heard it's very different and I've heard the makeup's a little different. Is that Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll send you some stuff after this. I'll be like, no,
Please
like
do. I want to
this.
see. Yeah, I want to
It
see.
is wild, but I think what you're doing is really amazing, and I'm so
Thank you.
thankful for you being able to be willing to share your story and talk with us, because like I said, you can
Thank
see your
you.
personality like through your social media, and I think it's great for young people to hear how you get into this and networking, like how all of that is so important. I mean, like I said,
Yeah,
it's
it
just one
is.
opportunity, like it can all change so quickly, but not without hard work and not without all of those things. So I think what you're doing is really amazing, and I'm thankful, like I said, for you talking, and
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to see like I'm not going to check in 5 years, but like I know we don't want the 5-year plan,
I'm sorry. It's very
but
different that question.
I'm so excited to see, what you do with this and what,
Thank you.
it looks like, because I know a lot of times people can, again, just dream that I want to work with celebrities. I want to be, this, or I think, a huge thing right now is influencers, obviously, and influencers in the beauty industry and what that looks like long term. And I'm like on a mission, because when I meet with high school students, and I
Yeah.
did this thing at the school. So I'm co-owner of a beauty school here in Knoxville.
Yeah.
And so we have like
That's awesome.
300 students. Like it's
That's
so
amazing.
amazing. We have a makeup school with makeup designery, which used to be in New
Yeah.
York and LA, and like we're their East Coast location now. And so I'm talking to young people all the time, right?
Yes.
So when you're like, I went to that makeup counter and what, like that's who I'm, talking to and meeting with,
Yeah.
and just want to give a super, super realistic expectation of what the industry is actually going to be
Yes.
like for them. And they all say like, I want to be an influencer, I want to be whatever. And that's great. You have a huge following and you have a business that like, directly benefits from that. Like it works together,
Yeah.
and you've been able to do both those things, but not without hard work. And that's my biggest thing, is
Thank
I
you
just
for
want to
saying that.
share that, is that it's not like
Yeah.
easy.
Because I have a hard time with that, because whenever people ask me, I mean, I just told you I am a workaholic. I can't help myself, but I've been this way my entire life. I used to work my corporate job Monday through Friday, and then I would do weddings Saturdays. And on Sundays, I would work with local photographers and do photo shoots for free. And I mean, it was limited time from my now husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, and my family. And whenever people ask me, how'd you get to quit your job? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? Yes, manifesting, praying, whatever way you want to look at it is amazing. And definitely, I think, is a huge part of it. And just like, but you need to work hard and you need to constantly be like pushing yourself. Like, I never said no to anything. And it's still to this day is hard for me to say no. I think a lot of people want the end result without putting in the work or putting in half the work. And that is my biggest pet peeve. I'm like, can't
Mm-hmm.
happen. You can't have the best of all the worlds. So,
Yeah. And I think just being realistic, setting those expectations, and then whatever the person
yep.
wants to do with that from there. But like, I will not be like, okay, come in. It's going to be easy. Like, you just need to do,
Yeah,
no, it's going to be really hard. And like we
it
said, like
is.
the different like personality traits that you have to have, this isn't for everyone. Not
Yeah,
everyone is going to get to this level, and that's okay. But you do have the opportunity to do it through hard work. Like, it's
for
not going to
sure.
be that you get one celebrity, like it's not Rhea and Fran being like, okay, come do this,
Yeah,
and now everyone else follows, if you're not grinding also
exactly.
at the same time of getting those opportunities. So
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for you sharing that, and
Thank you.
excited for everything that you're doing,
Thank you.
and
You too.
we've got a big day ahead, so thank you so much for
Oh my
being
God.
here with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yes.
And you are just so sweet. I'm so grateful to be on here and so proud of you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Well, I want a northern summer next summer. I'm like determined that we are coming north.
Come to Boston. We'd love to have you.
I can't wait. We'll catch up soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for listening to the Beauty School Bobby podcast today. Thank you so much, Haley Page, for joining me. I had so much fun talking with you. I feel like this episode was definitely like a talk with a home friend. It made me miss being at home so much. And so I just feel like it was such a treat to get to talk with Haley today. Make sure that you follow Haley Page. Her Instagram handle is at Haley Joy Page. If you are interested in having your wedding makeup done, or if you need makeup for a special event and you can book Haley, you are the luckiest girl in the world. So make sure you follow her. And as always, make sure you're following me at Beauty School Bobbi on Instagram. Make sure that if you're listening to this podcast, that you like, subscribe, give us a 5-star review. And if you are watching us on YouTube, comment below, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you catch the next episode of Beauty School Bobbi on Beauty and Style Network. We'll see you next time. Bye.